They say the way to a person's heart is through their belly. And my guest today is one of the most renowned celebrity chefs in the country.
Oh, it's well lit up. Seems like we're ready. Good. So what are we cooking today?
So I'm at this kitchen today morning trying to put together a killer dish, which I would hope he likes.
Oh man, this is intimidating. I don't even know where to start, but maybe some cow suey. You start off by drizzling some oil. Being a chef is not as easy as most people think. And I think even mothers at home don't really get the kind of credit that is due to them. Which is why today, this episode is going to be about food and beverage. And not just the skill that is needed in the kitchen, but what it really takes to build a business out of this.
See, this is what you do.
While most of us know Chef Sanjeev Kapoor as the host and presenter of Khana Khazana, there is so much more to the personality that amazes me every single time. He's had the Guinness World Record for making over 900 kilos of khichdi in 2017, which was also the year when he was presented with the Padma Shri. His businesses include restaurants, discotheques, media channels, kitchen appliances, and he's not stopping there. He told me about 2 new businesses that he's entering into this year.
Man, this is a moment of a lifetime. I can't wait to taste something that Chef Sanjeev Kapoor has made.
I thought you made it.
No, I won't take credit when it's not you.
Of course you made it.
Fabulous.
And here's to the man who is among the 100 most trusted people in India and the top 100 celebrities of our nation across several lists. The first of a kind personal brand of India. I'm thrilled to be chatting today with Chef Sanjeev Kapoor in Founder's Office with Sarthak Ahuja.
So who's sitting where?
This should be yours.
Okay.
I'll sit on the wobbly chair.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Is it okay if I address you as chef?
Whatever.
Is that
that is, everyone addresses me as chef.
Chef?
Yeah, chef.
Okay, perfect. So the reason I really wanted to talk to you is because I feel everyone who wants to start a business, wants to start a food business, they want to start a restaurant, they feel kuch capital hi to lagega, let's just put in that money, start this off. And this is easy to do. Like, we'll hire a good chef and we'll do a nice place. But only when they get into it, about 2 years down the line, they realize how much money they've really burnt. Because it's such a hard business to do and you've done it for years and in fact decades. You think people who want to get into food today, how should they think about where lies the opportunity or what are the mistakes that they make that you would suggest they plug?
My favorite dialogue in restaurant is jis din dimag kharab ho jaye, us din restaurant kholo. Because if you have to do that, the effort to return ratio is poor. You put in more effort for low return. In food, again, there may be more opportunities which may be more exciting. Right from growing, sourcing, whole distribution supply chain of that food, because it's a specialty, food is specialty. So the whole value chain, there are multiple opportunities.
If we really want to dissect the value chain, would you say today, who do you think out of your industry is extracting the maximum value? And I understand from what you've said is it's what is not seen at the back end. We know, unfortunately, that agriculturists don't really make the maximum amount of margin because it's essentially with people who own the supply chain, who are essentially the middlemen. Do you think there is an opportunity to go down into one area of food and be the middleman?
Percentage wise, if you were to see, then food that can be perceived as medicine would be highest margin.
Oh, give me a few examples.
Nutraceuticals.
Correct. Oh, so you'd put that in food?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what food is. All nutrients are food. So anything that people can perceive as medicine, there's the highest value, that highest margin would be there. So I would do turmeric, commodity, fine. I can add little bit of black pepper to it. Now, turmeric has curcumin and black pepper has perine, piperine, bioperine. When I combine these two, bioavailability of curcumin increases tenfold by adding. That's why
it's almost like a catalyst, as they.
That's right. Yeah. Now, if I say, okay, I'll make some, let's say, gummies or lozenges of turmeric, of curcumin. So maybe less than 1 gram of turmeric, I can sell at a higher price than 100 grams of turmeric.
That's where lies the opportunity.
That's-
And you would not have kind of captured it without really understanding the science of food, which most people who are getting into restaurant businesses possibly, unfortunately,
Yeah.
have not studied.
Correct. So if you ask me margin wise, then I would say that food packaged as nutraceutical, margin wise, percentage wise,
It's much higher.
much higher. Or I just sell high quality, high curcumin percentage from Lakadong to a pharma company, and they are willing to pay a higher premium for the same turmeric as compared to a spice brand. So you are selling a turmeric, but who your buyer is, who you are targeting.
Fabulous. I'm glad we started on this note, because my next question would be, imagine someone loves the sexiness of starting a restaurant.
Yes.
And they're so married to the idea. They've been dating that idea for months and months, and now they've jumped the fence and they're like, aaj to shuru karna hi hai.
Yeah.
And they look at data. Biryani really sells in India. North Indian cuisine sells. Thereafter, you've got Asian, which also unfortunately has a lot of competition.
Yes.
So if today someone has to get into this sexy business, firstly, understanding the Indian consumer, what cuisines do you think would have lower competition, would still be novel, but still match the taste or the palate of the Indian consumer?
So, any category, biryani, North Indian, wherever, where there is higher penetration already, right? They are popular and there is more competition, which means the market is already penetrated, right? If you have to get in there, go in only if you have deep pockets. And I'm not talking 2, 5, 10 crores. If you are not committing 500 crores, don't go into that category.
Correct.
Right? Have a pathway to that, and then success, very high chances. Because high familiarity leads to higher consumption. But to do that, you need to build a brand, you need to have great distribution strategy, you need multiple things. For that, you need to build an organization, people who will build that. Most people, individuals, are not in that category.
That's right.
Right? What works there? Have great product with a differentiation. Differentiation does not mean too new. And execute it well, it will work. So if you are in business of food, give people familiarity to taste, but create conversations that are little, I would say, high-flown, esoteric. So, for example, I often say this, and Damodar Mal of Reliance now. So he wrote in his book. So it was.
I love his book.
Yeah. So Supermarket Wala, right? So Damodar and I, this was years ago, we were in a party, and he says, "Tell me Indian trends, what it is." And so India is a country where we talk salad, eat samosa.
That's right.
Right? If you can give kanji with a story of kombucha, then that's a perfect match. Because when I have it, I need some familiarity.
So there are a bunch of things I hear from this. The first one, what you said about differentiation, reminds me of something that Virgil Abloh, who used to be the creative director of Nike at one point, used to say. And I'm not too much of a sneaker head, but when you look at people's sneaker collections, you'll say, I can't differentiate between this and the other one and the third one. And why do you have all of this in your collection? And he used to say that there is a 3% rule. Never change your offering more than 3%, because the moment you do that, the amount of cost it would take to educate the consumer is going to be crazy. And just that 3% is the differentiator. So what I'm hearing from you is, give them what they like, but package it slightly differently, slightly upmarket.
Absolutely.
And do that. Do you think Nepalese food can be introduced into India? A lot of people haven't experienced it. Will people like it if someone tries to give it an Indian twist?
Taste-wise, yes. Positioning-wise, no.
So maybe like...
So I can't charge premium. So there is aspiration. It is what we suffer globally with Indian food. We cannot charge premium for high-quality Indian food, barring 1 or 2 places. Because how you are perceived in a market. If you are not perceived as premium, Nepal in India is not premium. Bangladesh in India is not premium. India in US is not premium.
But do you think that's changing now? Like I'm
changing,
but not a
Not
big
that
enough
fast,
market.
yes.
Do you think if someone wants to get into food, maybe that is a better opportunity? Get into packaged foods, take something like an Indian samosa or an Indian snack, package it for a longer shelf life, and rather cater to a foreign audience than trying to build a restaurant in India?
If you can, absolutely. Look at B2B business in food service. Now, so I met somebody, the B2B supplier. He decided to build a shop only for B2B supplies. So all the products that you, because the tomato ketchup that you have, the mayonnaise that you have, to rice pack, to everything, the packaging for B2B is different.
Different.
Right? He started to display those items there, and he also built a kitchen like this for brands to come and showcase their products.
It's almost like a studio.
A studio, but he also started to sell those things not to a retail customer but to restaurant customer.
It's almost like how in fashion there are different houses who build their designs and products, and then the bigger brands just come and buy it from them.
Right? And very quickly, I went through the numbers. I said, what you did in last 25 years and what you did with this in 1 year, it is now at same level. Now, highly profitable, costs are low, predictable. And he says, when they come here, I'm getting money right
Immediately.
upfront.
So
Immediately.
there's no credit.
So it is, you're still in this business. You're business of food and beverage.
Okay. But imagine there is someone who wants to start a restaurant now.
Right.
Would you say, apart from phenomenal food, if they crack it, are there any factors around it which are probably more important? You said story and brand. My experience, it tells me that maybe location is key. Anything else that you would want to tell these people that get this right? I understand it's a very broad question, but you may over the years have developed some mental models to say, okay, maybe from a numbers perspective, this is a golden ratio. Take this away and ensure that your food cost doesn't go beyond this. Or if you have to start, maybe don't start with more than 20 tables or anything to get them started.
So, great food, great service, great location in a neighborhood where enough customers who have the capacity to pay,
Footfall and willingness to.
yes, willing to pay, that is important. And then pricing. Any restaurant, no matter where they are, they should only look at one number. Everything else will fall into place, and that's the sales number. How much revenue? That's it. All percentages fall in place.
If the sales is there. You know, as they say, sales solves more than half the problems in business. Do you think even if you were to build a restaurant in a Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, where there is willingness to pay and you're catering kind of like to a premium customer, people who go to multinationals, for example, or who go to startups which are well funded and are getting like good salaries of MBAs from top tier colleges, have you noticed that there is a price point per person? The moment you kind of exceed that threshold, you suddenly see a dip. And the reason I asked this question is the other day I was in a conversation with someone who runs an FMCG company,
Yeah.
one of the largest, and they said in India, 40% of SKUs are below 10 rupees.
Yeah,
You know, so for them, it is such a sacrosanct price point.
absolutely.
Have you seen that in restaurants or ventures that you've done?
Yes. So, for example, QSR, many years ago when it was getting funded, we say if you price anything more than 100,
What's
it's a
that?
no-go. Changed. Now that has become 250.
So 250 for QSR, you would say is like a
Yeah,
is a
that's
good
something.
benchmark. Try
Yeah,
not
so
to
you go
breach.
up. Yeah, you go up. Yeah, that's the premium. That's where add-on come into place.
Correct. So
Right.
maybe like a Starbucks trying to give an experience or something. But,
So yeah, so
but
they're
try not to breach 250, you would say. If
yeah, that's something that consumer starts to feel ki they will still get from you 350 rupees Starbucks.
But they'll
Understand?
feel the
Without it.
pinch.
They may not feel the pinch, they will talk about it. They will pay. They will talk about it. Then if you were to look at a casual
Dining, right?
dining, right? So there I would break that into two. One is sub 1,000, one is more than 1,000.
Okay.
Right? Any restaurant who would go to an investor, if it is closer to 1,000, there is some hope. Sweet spot, starts to come in at between 13 to 1500 rupees. That's something where a casual dining now can afford, can go. But again, if it is too small a restaurant, will struggle.
So you'd say probably 1300 to 1500 and covers in terms of maybe 50 to 100, somewhere between 50 to 100?
No, closer to 100. So till about 70, sub 70, again struggle. Because you have to remember, if there is a limit and you cannot change eating habits, maximum business, if it is going to come from your 2.5 days, dinner time, and you have a peak capacity of 60, 65, 70 covers.
It's not helping.
It's not helping. I would say 90 to 110 is a sweet spot.
90 to 110. Ideally, if you can sell between 1200 to 1500 per person.
Yeah, closer to 1500. So I have to say 13 to 1500. See, the key is that the place that you are in, you need to bring same people back, same people back. Cost of bringing same customer back is the lowest.
Correct.
Right?
So even for such an experiential restaurant, would you say ideally like a 15 to 20% of deliveries is a good benchmark to?
Difficult
To hit. But
difficult.
If you can, nothing like it.
But that's dream.
So
That's dream.
So you'd say 10 to 15?
15 is good. Less than 15
doesn't matter.
does not matter.
Got it.
20, you're home.
Got it. So say your this ideal between 80 to 110, selling closer to 1500 rupees per person at a premium place in one of the metro cities in India, at that level, what are some ideal benchmarks or what kind of food cost should you first let's go backwards thinking what kind of margin
Yeah.
should you reasonably expect to take home even after taking away the overheads? So eventually, what should be your target? Is a 12%, 12 to 15 or 12 to 18 a good benchmark, or
If you don't do that, don't do this business.
correct? So what you would say
Don't
is
do this.
15 should be your benchmark. At least take 15% home at the very minimum.
Exactly. Otherwise, see, it's a game of gross margin, right?
Correct.
That's why higher sales is critical.
You mentioned gross margin, which is sales minus the raw material cost of putting the food together.
Yeah.
Are there certain food categories which sell very well, which are very high gross margin, as per your experience? I would think a croissant is a crazy gross margin business.
Right.
I don't know if that's true or not.
No, they're in everything. So that's where we what we call as menu engineering. How do you give people where the perceived value is higher and cost is
And the cost.
That's it. So that is where conversation, storytelling, it's all about creating higher perceived
Perception.
value. Higher.
Correct.
That's what it is. That's what we do when we have 5-star hotel and there is somebody who's standing. There's no real door that needs to be opened.
But just opening it brings that perception.
Perception.
Correct.
This-
Okay. This is great. Okay, so we're on the right track. I want to see now food cost. What as per you should be the benchmark that they should?
Oh, if you breach 25%, don't be in this business.
So 25% is sacrosanct. Don't try and cross this.
Don't.
So out of the 85% cost is the maximum benchmark that we have in total. 25% has gone into food.
Correct.
How much do you think rentals typically one should expect to pay? I know a lot of malls today are on revenue sharing.
That's right.
So what would you say is the benchmark for rent?
So don't breach 12%. So understand, 12% is something. So if your sales is high, right? So would they be willing to work with a good brand at a MG plus rev share? I know that QSRs, they go as low as 6%.
Because they know the sales is going to be through the roof.
So anchor QSRs, they would go down to that level also. Today, it may be a little bit higher, but a 10% with brands in premium restaurant category, it's common.
Got it.
Try to be at
12%,
12%.
but ideally 10% is...
12, yeah. So don't lock in at 12%, 15% rev share. Lock in at 12%, and then rev share has high revenue because they want to maximize their yield, right?
Got it.
So should you.
So for say, such a restaurant, again, about 100 cover, how much manpower would be needed?
So in India, we hire more people because you pay less, but as a cost percentage if I were to say. So number of people today you would see, and this is all front of the house, back of the house, kitchen, it goes up to 30 people.
And if you run like full capacity, you're a good banger of a restaurant, you sell very well. Ideally, what should be the manpower cost benchmark that you should try and not breach?
Never breach 20%.
20%. How would you think about marketing?
A small restaurant should invest about 1 to 2%, which is much lower than many businesses, right? As we
Correct.
know, right? Into marketing and schemes and promotions.
And
Yeah, it is low. And why I'm saying this, because people don't even invest that. I see that they scare away from that.
I mean, they think we're not seeing the ROI.
Yeah, we
don't
are
know,
not
but,
seeing the
I mean,
ROI, but you'll
it's
never see it.
invisible.
It's
You'll never see
invisible.
it. Correct.
So initial spend, absolute, much higher, but invest that.
So say these people are selling at close to 1500, 100 covers. What do you think should be the capital investment to do up the place or get the restaurant running? Should one think it's possible today in 1 to 2 crores?
Easy.
Easy?
Don't go too much. Don't be.
So don't go beyond 2 crores.
See, and that's the biggest problem I see most of the time. People over-invest because they can. Invest in good architect, interior, lighting, sound, HVAC.
Yeah.
Invest in experts. Invest in good software. Don't just think that I know everything.
So now say you've created something. It's fabulous. It's running very well. Would you rather open more, reinvest that money into opening more, or do you think going down the franchisee route is great? One concern I've learned about franchisees is the moment you start selling franchisees, the brand that you've built, there is a huge risk of dilution because will other people run it the way you do? Probably that's a risk that you're willing
That's a
to.
very good question, Sarthak. I think what happens is most people who run their restaurant, when they open the second one, they think that they will be able to run it the same way that they were running the first one. Actually, may not be true. They may not run both of them well. It is whose management is better. Is it yours or franchisees? Emotionally, we feel because it is ours, it will be better. But if you are not a good teacher, who will teach your child better? You or teacher?
So you're saying it's absolutely okay to go down the
No,
and there's no
no.
right answer. It's okay
There's
if
no
you
right.
can.
No, but don't rush into it. So first, if you have to expand, how do you expand? You have opened one here. Where should I open next? You are in Mumbai. Don't go and open in Gurgaon. Open second one in Mumbai.
Penetrate
Yes.
deeper.
Yes, penetrate deeper. See, the restaurant business, food service business is business of variables. How many variables can you control? So some places are lunch heavy, some are dinner heavy, some are weekdays, some are. So you understand those, and that understanding, open at least 4. Before you start to think, resist, say no, then get into.
Understood. Do you think the world could be ready for more brands to go outside?
Absolutely, like never before. So I'm not saying, so it is how you position, but who you are going after. So Indians there, they become your great ambassador. For authenticity, who do you ask? An Indian. Oh, this is nice. If you want to make higher margin, make sure you get your initial business through the Indians or South Asians in that market, but your marketing money should be
Educating the foreigners. So what I'm hearing is you first cater to the Indians, get the customer love from the Indians, but all the marketing spend goes towards the foreigners, the Caucasians who are in that market to educate them and depend on the Indians to kind of bring them in saying this is where you get authentic good food that you would like.
Yeah, so the reason I say this, current data is that beverage sale. So we still don't consume as much beverage with Indian food as they would consume. So to have that shift so that per person spend
Increases.
So that's why you need them.
So that's why you also think in foreign markets alcohol is also a puller.
Yeah, that's
of
why you need a
audiences.
great wine list. You need great cocktails. You need great sommelier. You need great storytelling. You need a great product on drinks also.
You know, I also wanted to always ask you, and maybe a little selfish here, is that you seem to me as the first personal brand in the country where people think that content creators are kind of, it's a new profession. But I think you did content around food, became a big personal brand, being known as the chef of India. And then you build businesses around it. There's of course the restaurant, there's been the media company, the food channel, there's also Wonder Chef. If the content creators today who are navigating this, are there certain learnings that you would like to give them that regardless of the industry, these are certain thumb rules of building a personal brand that you must not forget, which they should consider where you see people making mistakes today?
Uh, I think first and foremost, get one thing right, that in minds of the viewer, consumer, user, where do you want to sit? That what is the first line of thought that user is thinking that who you are? Most of the time, people scatter in their thoughts and they remain scattered in minds of the user also. If you have to build a personality brand, person brand, you can only become a brand if you are an expert. So actually the brand is built around expertise. People want expertise. People don't want personalities. People make this mistake. They don't focus on expertise, they focus on the person.
But to that, what is very interesting, a couple of years ago, I was speaking with someone who helps a lot of people get speaking gigs. And they said, when you get into this market, you'll realize that experts end up commanding the least price per minute spoken at an event. So if you're an expert of a subject, someone will give you maybe, for the sake of simplicity, a lakh.
Can I cut you short?
Yeah.
You are right. But what were they being hired for? Speaking. So they're bad speakers. So there's a difference.
So if you're an expert who can speak well,
So what do you think I've been doing? So I tell these people, I could teach. Wherever I worked, I was teaching. I was a good teacher before I started TV. I could speak, I could cook. Before I did TV, I was the best executive chef of this country. So you have to become an expert. People want that content. We mistake, they are loving that face. Are people perceiving you as somebody who's adding value to their life with your content? And if they do, you will always hear them ask you something that they want from you. If they are asking, give them what they want. Most of the time, they are not even asking anything from you. They're just consuming your content.
So you need to get to a point where they start asking of you.
Whatever they ask, give it to them.
Like it's a matter of right saying, I want it from this person.
Because now they have defined a need. So my first extension, I would meet people, I would go for live shows and say, sir, do you have a cooking book on this? I didn't have a book. I said, TV pe free mein dekhte ho, book kharidni padegi. More. And say, oh, sir, where we only see your food on TV, where we can eat? You start hearing more of it. Restaurants come into place. Somebody says, oh, do you have a book on microwave cooking? Here it is. Do you have something on salad? Here it is. Sir, which mixer do you use on your show? Sir, that looks very good. Need.
Correct.
Again, don't leave that your core expertise. Your core expertise is what they would value most. And then their defined need. And you can keep on building. There's no end to it.
Absolutely. I think that's the right way to put it. Of course, who could have articulated it better than you? Yeah. Before I let you go, what's your favorite cuisine?
Home.
Home?
Yes.
Anything cooked at home?
Anything cooked at home. Depends which part of the world that I am in. So I could be in Spain, it'll be Spanish home. I could be in Italy, Italian home. I could be in Zanzibar home.
So whatever is native to that place.
Cooked in home style.
Perfect. If you had to start a restaurant in India today in a
Why would
new
I
cuisine,
Sanjeev Kapoor can do so many things better, smarter. Why would I do it?
So what is a new business that you would want to start today? And possibly you're working on it. And some people would think I don't want to give away what I'm working on.
No. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So this is how my success is, because I shared all my life. For me, I think one thing which we owe to the world, that World has to know real Indian food, and that's what I'm working on, and it's in packaged food. The other thing is I'm more working on pharma products and food. I think that's smarter.
We're going to be looking out and definitely be buying a lot more of what you have to offer in health and wellness.
Thank you, Sarthak. I must say and compliment you for sharing your knowledge with somebody of your pedigree and who's not just done well but worked hard at it and spreading this knowledge. So I have a lot of respect for people who spread knowledge.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
continue to do that.
It's great coming from you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While our discussion today was about building a consumer-facing restaurant business, I mostly advise my clients that there are much larger money-making opportunities in B2B businesses which are not even visible to the end consumer. To understand such opportunities across beauty, healthcare, automobiles, real estate, and a lot more, join me in future episodes in Founder's Office with Sarthak Ahuja.